Nasim Ahmad Bajwa was born more than 81 years ago in Himalayas.
Himalayas. Whereas I contact to see mental medicine. Okay. And when did you migrate to Pakistan?
We migrated, the whole family, my parents and myself, in 1946 because my mother, a woman of no education, she could anticipate that there would be partition, and following partition there will be massacre, and living as we did close to Delhi, we would have no means of escape. So she sent my father to meet his uncle, who was an advisor to the then governor of Punjab, and he got him transferred to Muzaffargarh near Multan. So when the partition came and the killing everywhere, we were perfectly safe.
Do you have any attachment with the place where you was born in India?
I have indeed very strong, and this is why when on my 80th birthday, I did go to my birthplace in Himalayas, and when the news spread, and I walked in the main high street of Hamirpur, the whole town came to a standstill, and people stood up to greet me. And this was a front page news of one of the leading newspapers published in Himachal, that the son of Hamirpur is back.
Son of the Mirpur.
Son of Hamirpur. This is how I was described.
How was your feeling when you visited your birthplace?
I went to the hospital where I was born, where my father was a doctor. The hospital obviously looks very different from what it was 80 years ago. It looks much bigger, but I did go to the place, and the doctors, when they found out that he is a man who was born here, son of a doctor, here in December 1936, I received a hero's welcome, and I felt like a celebrity, and only because they thought it's. And I keep thinking of my birthplace. I'm thinking of going again and starting some sort of a scholarship to honor my memory and to cherish that.
Did you witness any bloodshed during partition, or did you hear any bloodshed from people?
I did, and one tragedy where my father is a doctor, so he had to go into one Hindu family in a village near Shahpur in Sargodha, murdered, and he did take me, and I was 11 years old, and for the first time in my life, I had seen a woman lying on the floor. She was obviously, the way she was lying, it looked that she was running away from the scene. She was beheaded. The food was still there, which they were eating. And one single tragedy which I saw is enough to tell me what happened to millions of people.
What effect that scene left on your personality?
Tremendously. It's traumatic, and it haunts me even today. And that family must have lived there all their life. They must have been treated with love and affection, and that tells me that the people of Punjab, and I'm one of them, they are like weather in Punjab. They can get very nasty, and brothers can kill brothers, children can kill their father, and people of Punjab can lose their shirt very easily, and very nice people can become very wild.
Why did 1 million people killed?
They thought that if Muslims are being killed in the other side of the border, they should take a revenge. And this is all because we could not arrive at a formula which could have a division of power. All that Mr. Jinnah wanted was that those parts of India which had Muslim majority should have some sort of an arrangement where there is a political safeguard, and they were denied that opportunity.
Do you still miss anything about your birthplace or the place where you lived with your family before migration?
I do, and I have never considered India to be my enemy. I've never considered it to be, I feel perfectly at home in India as I do in Pakistan. I treat India to be my home.
what is the gain and loss of that migration for you?
I personally have gained nothing. I think I have lost my links and anchorage with a place that I belong to, and all my friends were Hindus, and I thought that this is one people. And now the interesting thing is that the last 51 years I've lived in England, so all the Hindus and Sikhs that I left behind, they have become my friends in England once again.
Did that partition of India and Pakistan change your thoughts about other religions, other community, or people?
In fact, when I read history, which later on, I found out that Europe also has been through very dark ages, and and we talk of 1 million killing. It is less than 100 years ago when Hitler killed 6 million innocent men, women, and children. So even in massacre, people of India and Pakistan, we are no match to to Europe, because when they start killing, they kill far more people. And the only consolation I have is they had their dark moments long ago, and we had it in 1947.
When your father migrated and lived all his life in Pakistan and then UK, what was the thing he missed mostly about the place he worked and lived?
My father,
Yes.
my father never came to England. Only
No,
I did.
in Pakistan.
In Pakistan, he all, you see that generation which lived in the British time, the religious differences were very minor, just as in England. It was your private matter, and his friends and
What did he miss most?
his, his non-Muslim friends who were very close to him, and they treated him like a brother. And so he would talk of his days at the medical college when he was the only Muslim doctor who passed. There were not many Muslim doctors. He was the first one from Sargodha. And
That was your first migration. And second migration, when did you come to UK?
51 years ago, and I was teaching at Atchison, which is a public school, and there was elections, and I thought I, as a citizen of Pakistan, can have a right to support anyone that I want, and I supported Miss Jinnah, who was Fatima, was sister of Mr. Jinnah, and but the people at Atchison said, if you work for the government of Pakistan, you are their employee for 24 hours, which I never knew, because they only paid me for 2 or 3 hours when I was teaching. So they said, you are dismissed. And no college in Pakistan, I applied to 300 places, would give me a job, which if I if I convert the currency, it was less than £2 a month, and I wouldn't get a job. In the end, my English friends in Atchison, and I had many, they arranged a job for me with the oldest grammar school in England, Royal Grammar School, up in Clitheroe. So the same class which I taught in Atchison, after a few months I started teaching in England.
So why did you come to England? Couldn't you find any job in Pakistan?
No, not even a job which will bring me £2 or £3 a month.
Okay. And you said you still feel like after 50 years that you're sleeping in someone's bedroom.
I do I think I'm perhaps not the only one, and the person who's...
Could you explain in your words, because I just noted down.
Yes, but I feel is that it is my home, and 3 of my children were born here. My father is buried here, and out of 81 years, I've spent 51 years here, so most of my life. But I would be less than honest if I don't admit that I don't have the same feeling in London as I have in the streets of Lahore. I feel that this place did not treat me too well, but this is my place. And here I believe I'm a second-class citizen, being a black man. I could be anytime someone can say, who are you and what are you doing in my country? A question which no one in Pakistan can ask me. Because there it is accepted that like the trees and plants and like the birds and the rivers and the mountains, I belong to that territory. Here I am an immigrant, and that word doesn't apply to me when I am in Lahore.
What changed this migration put in your personality when you came to UK 51 years ago?
But mercifully, England has been very kind to me. They gave me a teaching job, which in those days was completely unknown. My wife and I were perhaps the first Asian couple who were asked to teach, and that too at advanced level in a college of higher education. No one. When we went to college, they thought we are the cleaners. And the staff there thought we have come to clean the floors. When they realized that I'm going to teach here, they were surprised, perhaps shocked, and which I happily did for 10 years. All the children studied law. Then I became a student, and I'm glad that the family has produced half a dozen barristers.
Did you, when you came here, you met different people from different countries, different religion, from India and Pakistan as well. Did any change happen in your personality about Indians, about Hindus, about Sikhs?
I treat them as my own people, and I don't distinguish that a Muslim Indian is any different to me than a Hindu Indian. I believe living in England, the world has completely changed. Your religion is a private contract between you and the God, and I have got nothing to do with it. In fact, no one has got anything to do with your religion. Your religion is your private matter. The important thing is the feeling of being a citizen, and I think that I'm very happy that the last 51 years have gone off very happy.
And you had same thought before 51 years when you was in Pakistan, or that these thoughts are made in India?
But they have become further cemented and I would say strengthened, because I was working with English teachers, and I was in an environment where I was not, which was not claustrophobic, that I was not in a cocoon where I don't meet outsiders. And so that exposure was helpful. And the first Englishman I met was not when after I came to England. And I thought, after reading all the books about England, I was very familiar. So this is why on day one in London, I acted as a travel guide to an American. And he said, how long have you lived here? I said, only a few hours, because I came this morning to London. But I knew where Strand is, because I had read about Strand in an essay by Virginia Woolf, which was part of my BA syllabus. She went to buy a pencil, and once she walked there for many hours, she found she couldn't find any. I found Strand, and I knew this is the place I've been reading for a long time ago.